Baltimore Ravens were just gifted a golden opportunity to add some talent to positions of need.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Oestreicher of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the number one sports podcast network. Appreciate everybody for being here, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day. We have 5 days a week plus more of daily Ravens content and coverage here for you. And you might be wondering, why is there a Locked On Ravens episode, or I guess mini episode, coming out at around 6 p.m. Eastern time, 6 a.m., right? Well, yes, the show is going to continue to come out at 6 a.m. Eastern time. That's what our regular show is, Monday through Friday. We are now launching an extra daily show here on the network. I'm super pumped and excited about it. So we're essentially going to have check-ins. That's what I'm calling it for now. This is the debut episode of that. So we'll have, again, our regularly scheduled show, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern time. That's the big show. But at 6 p.m., we're going to have a check-in where we're going to go about 10, 15 minutes, talk about a couple of topics that popped up throughout the day so that there is a stream of Ravens content coverage. Not that we didn't already have that, but we're going to continue to add that here. So Monday through Friday, we're going to have our check-ins as well. So I'm excited to launch this up here, especially during this offseason where there are going to be so many headlines and storylines to talk about. So again, 6 a.m. Eastern time is our big show, about 30, 36 minutes. That's what we do, 3 segments. Here, it'll be about 2 segments, a little bit shorter, 10 to 15 minutes at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So thanks for all the support. And I'm excited to kick this journey off here. And let's start it with the Ravens getting gifted a golden opportunity, in my opinion, to add some really big talent. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they just completely released their entire roster. Not actually, but they released a lot of players. And I think that this is a perfect situation for the Ravens. A flurry of moves in Miami where the Dolphins released, the one that I want to focus on right now is Bradley Chubb, pass rusher. He was released by the Dolphins, a bunch of cost-saving moves for them. This happened earlier today, and I am absolutely in love with the idea of Bradley Chubb coming to the Ravens. Now, Chubb, he played in 17 games this past season, put up 8.5 sacks. He's been a dominant player over the course of his career. Obviously, a high first-round pick in Denver. He had his best year in 2023 with the Dolphins, where he had 11 sacks, but actually got injured in that Ravens game that they played and didn't play for the entire 2024 season. Miami moves on. It's obviously a change over there in Miami with everything they have going on. And this is perfect for the Ravens. Even if the Ravens want to go into their, we want to save on the comp pick formula and do all that, well, man, I mean, this is perfect for the Ravens because Chubb is someone who right now he'll be around 30 by the time the season starts. He's 29 right now, and the production is there. He can be a dominant player. I think he fits into what Baltimore wants to do. And guess what? Who is his coach these last couple of years on defense? Anthony Weaver. Now, he only played technically 1 year in the system because he didn't play in 2024, but these are the connections I'm talking about, right? With guys like Chubb and even like a Jalen Phillips who was traded to Philadelphia. He's a free agent, but he played in Miami the past 2 years under Weaver. This is where I think Baltimore is going to have a leg up with some of these free agency conversations. And I think Chubb fits a lot here. So I think this is a perfect golden opportunity for the Ravens. Again, like a Max Crosby would be awesome in Baltimore, but we all know the draft pick compensation, the contract that would look like. Chubb is not going to break the bank here, I don't feel like. I think he'll still get a decently big contract, but not to the level of like, he's getting paid $20 million per season or anything along those lines. I think it could be a relatively affordable option if the Ravens want to go splash somewhere else. Do they want to sign a really big offensive lineman? Do they want to trade for somebody with a big contract that won't cost them a ton of draft pick conversation? Is that a guy like A.J. Brown? There are a lot of different conversations with that, but Chubb makes a ton of sense to me. A guy who has 48 career sacks, still young enough where he can make an impact. I think we're going to see a couple of key pass rushers brought in this offseason. And Chubb is 6'4", 268. So, I mean, he's a decently big guy. I'm not, kicking him inside on every single play, but I think he does bring you a little bit of versatility, which I think is really awesome. So Chubb, to me, that signed me up here for the Ravens. The Dolphins released a couple of other guys as well. James Daniels, the guard, is an intriguing name. That was kind of a rough situation for him in Miami. Only played in, I believe, 4 games for the Dolphins during his tenure there. No, just 1 game, excuse me. He played in 4 games for Pittsburgh the previous season. He signed a big money deal with Pittsburgh, established himself in Chicago. He's 28 years old. Again, that's more of like a depth signing for me. I mean, he's someone that maybe could compete for a job, but maybe as a backup option. I'm not like super enamored with the whole James Daniels thing. Is an option, but that's somebody else that could be on the table. But Tyreek Hill, I think, is the name that everybody wants to talk about here. So he's a guy that out of the 3, like Tyreek, we know he's a very talented receiver. I don't know the type of contract he's going to be looking for. I don't know where he even is in his recovery process off of his knee injury, but we know that he's an electric, talented player, was dealing with the Tua quarterback situation over the last couple of seasons. Again, he's not the prototypical, like, this is what Baltimore needs at wide receiver. He's 5'10", 191 pounds. And in the second part of the show, we'll talk about another smaller wide receiver where that reunion talk is really heating up in terms of what these guys are posting, these players. But, I mean, Tyreek's intriguing to me. It would really just depend on the contract. I think, again, he's one of the only exceptions I would make for a smaller receiver with the current group the Ravens have. I think you can get away with having Tez and Bateman as, again, they're not like super tall options. And Tez is a guy, actually, Tez Walker, he's what, 6 foot. Okay, so he's not as big as I thought he was. So again, the Ravens need to bring in that big wide receiver skill set to their team one way or the other. Again, I just think bringing D-Hop back would be great. But if they go into next season with a combination of Zay Flowers, Rashod Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tez Walker, and you can kind of fit and add guys around there, I'm cool with that. And even if it is like you sign Tyreek and it's Zay and Tyreek, and then you bring in another bigger body in for agency and you trade Bateman for a 2nd or 3rd round pick or something along those lines, those are all conversations I have. But again, there's a lot more talent on the market right now that I think could really help. But Bradley Chubb is really that guy. Again, I'm not expecting the Ravens to sign Tyreek Hill. There might be some rumblings or whatnot that pop up over the next handful of weeks, but I think Bradley Chubb is that guy that I am zeroing in on for the Ravens, where I think it just fits everything that they need. It fits what the Ravens' plan has been. And again, while I think that plan does need some shifts and some changes to be a little more aggressive, I think this makes a lot of sense. And it could be Chubb and somebody else too, which makes a lot of sense. So Chubb and Daniels and Hill, all available for the Ravens. We'll see what ends up happening there. Coming up, we'll dive into a little bit of the Marquise Brown situation. That reunion talk is getting louder, so stay tuned. Plenty coming up on Locked On Ravens. First, the show is brought to you by Zocdoc. Finding a doctor you actually like and feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Sure, you want someone who's a network nearby and has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens, makes you feel comfortable, and explains things clearly. That kind of doctor exists, and finding them is easy with Zocdoc. Zocdoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without all the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments, more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering over 200 specialties in primary care and dentistry, through dermatology and eye care. ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptom and actually build a care team that works for you. You can see real-time availability and book instantly. No phone calls, no waiting on hold. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this message. And the show is brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year. Whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now not only can you pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And the show is brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Moving along here, Locked On Ravens. Kevin Oestreicher still here with you on this Monday evening edition of the show. Thanks again for being here, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. Again, this is new what we're doing here. We have the regular show Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern time. That has not changed. We're going to have episode 1,707 consecutively of that coming out tomorrow. But we're debuting this now, the Locked On Ravens check-ins in the evenings, where we're just a little shorter check-in, shorter segments of just diving into the latest news and notes around the Ravens. So thanks so much for being here again and making us a part of your day. Now let's dive into this Marquise Brown situation. We talked about this morning a little bit, but there's been a new development in that situation as Marquise Brown took to his Instagram story and posted a picture, or it's a video actually, of him celebrating a Ravens win in his Ravens uniform. He went back to his Ravens days and doing that. And so everyone's talking about, okay, well, Lamar Jackson posted that comment under the Instagram story Marquise Brown post with the purple heart and everything. And now Marquise Brown is posting, this video of him in a Ravens uniform after a Ravens win. And he's already gone on the Baltimore media tour during the Super Bowl and talked about Lamar Jackson and defending him and his time in Baltimore. How he didn't want to leave, et cetera, et cetera. Like, this is all adding up a little bit. And again, like I talked about Marquise Brown this morning, and the short of it is that I would not bring Marquise Brown back unless they also bring in a bigger bodied option like an AJ Brown or, an elite bigger body option. I just think at that point, like if you're rolling into the season with Zay Flowers, Rashod Bateman, Marquise Brown, Tez Walker, again, like Tyreek, like I mentioned in the first part of the show, I still think he has enough. And there's a lot of other situations you got to figure out with Tyreek, right? And just like what that is with him. But just talent level wise, I think a lot of teams would make that exception in terms of like, all right, we don't need a shorter receiver, but Tyreek can be good enough to where, yeah, we'll give him like an opportunity with our other group. Whereas a guy like Marquise Brown, I just don't know like that talent difference for me between what Tyreek brings to the table from that on-field perspective versus what Marquise Brown does. I would rather just bring back D-Hop as opposed to Marquise Brown. If you're going to rock into the season with Zay Flowers, Rashod Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tez Walker, and you use Tez Walker more, okay, like I'm honestly cool with that. And again, you can have the conversation about would they draft a receiver at 14? What would that look like? There are also shorter receivers that are going to be taken in that range. You have to factor all those in. But yeah, like it's an interesting conversation because look, I think that Hollywood is still a solid receiver and can really make an impact on a team. But the big thing for me is if you want to use Tez more, I just don't want Marquise Brown to take away those opportunities from Tez, where I think with DeAndre Hopkins, there's more of a balance between Tez and D-Hop, whereas for Marquise Brown and Tez, I just don't know how that dynamic would work. So again, like seems like Marquise Brown is fully leaning into this Ravens reunion arc. I wouldn't be shocked if it happens. I would, again, like I still feel like Marquise Brown can be a valuable receiver for a team, and that team could be the Ravens, but with Declan Doyle, his offense coming in, expecting to see a lot more heavier receiver sets, like it makes sense that the Ravens would maybe want to go out there and bring in some guys that they can play a little bit more. I think Tez automatically gets a boost in that category. But if you ask me right now, would I rather have Marquise Brown or DeAndre Hopkins? I just think D-Hop fits better in. Now, if they go out there and like I said this morning, trade for an AJ Brown, well then, okay, yeah, like I could get behind Zay Flowers. I'm assuming Rashod Bateman could be in that deal. So let's just say Zay Flowers, AJ Brown, Marquise Brown, and Tez Walker. Yeah, sign me up. Like I think Marquise Brown with a bigger bodied receiver next to Zay would be an incredible compliment in that offense. but the fit right now, I just don't see it with the fact that they do need that bigger bodied guy. And, Marquise Brown, while still a valuable player and what he can bring to the table, is not that like elite level guy that you can put out there and have that. So I think that, again, wouldn't be floored if it happens. I'd be like, yeah, this makes sense. It was being put out there all off season, Lamar, Hollywood, everything. But again, the final decision does come down to Eric DeCosta, and we will see what ends up happening there. So I have here today. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Ravens, this 6 p.m. check-in edition. We'll be back with the squad show a little bit later, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, as well as our regular show, 6 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, the big one. So we'll be back with a lot more Ravens coverage and content. Be sure on the way out to the like and subscribe button in video form. Follow along and subscribe in audio form. And I'll see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.